passenger. My name is Bob. But of course, you're not here for small talk. You are here to find the vault.
You can stop there. Not a vault hunter. Just need a ride.
If you say so. Well, hello, brave vault hunter. So...
Okay, we're going now.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait You Haven't Seen live at DragonCon. It's a show where we talk about movies, and specifically, we talk about a movie at least one of us had never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, a.k.a. TV's Travis. This is my 284th episode.
Wow.
And this week, we're talking about 2024's Borderlands. And here to talk with me about it, I hadn't seen it, but I did go to the theater. I'm one of the few that did. I've got the rock god of podcasting himself, Charles McFall.
Really?
And from Botched, it's Phil Keating.
Okay.
Well, we know who the favorite is.
We do.
All right, so before we get into the movie and all that, what I want to know, starting with Phil, background with Borderlands, the games.
All of them. Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
I don't think I played the Telltale one, but 1, 2, and 3 we played together on stream because me and him used to do a Borderlands stream together.
Okay.
So we streamed Borderlands 2 from completion. You fucking idiot. And then also we did all the DLC for 2, and then when 3 came out, we actually did it on the launch day. Yeah. So I'm very familiar with the games.
All right. So, Charles, same?
Actually, so the first one, I was a subscriber to Game Informer at the time, you know, the GameStop magazine, and they're like,
Rips.
Oh, this will be it. Yeah, okay, one person. But they're, I didn't like the art style in the magazine. It looked weird. It didn't catch me. And about a year after the launch, when they came out with the Game of the Year edition or whatever it was, a buddy of mine was like, you got to play this. And he had just come into town, driven 15 hours to...
Homeschooled.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's homeschooled, everyone. I'm sorry.
Anyway, he did this long ride. He was so hyped up on Borderlands. We drove 30 minutes into town at the time to go, and he bought it for me, and then I got hooked ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I remember playing the first game, immediately getting hooked on it, and then I played all 3 and the pre-sequel as well. So the 4 mainline games.
And look, the Telltale games are great.
I know, but you can't. Can you still get them on Steam, or did they take them off?
I think they took them down. I don't remember.
They took them off as well, yeah. And are they still up there?
All right.
Wonderful. We'll wait for the Steam sale. And then when Borderlands 3 came out, they had a booth up in the vendor hall here, right?
Yeah.
And they were giving masks away, which was great. So
actually, I still have the tote bags over there behind the banner. I got the tote bag from that year.
And you're on here, so if anybody wants to take them and just run.
All right, so a movie got announced, and
Phil was so excited.
Right, you were super excited for this movie.
I was when it was announced.
And then you saw the trailer.
And then, then I saw the casting.
Okay.
And I was like, oh boy, the writing's better be good on this. It better be good because we all, when we're dealing with a property that we love so much, we have these idyllic actors to play these characters that we love so much, right? We spend a lot of time with these characters, and so we all here have a cast list that we all believe would work better, and I'm in that boat as well. And I was like, oh boy, and then yeah.
I love that you pointed out there's more people in this room than in any theater we went to see the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have a story about that, right? Because I put this was the last thing I had to do before I left for DragonCon, right? I kept pushing it. I kept pushing it. And I was like, you know what? I got a little bit of time on Tuesday. I leave on Wednesday. It's going to be great. Check the times. It's not in the theater on Tuesday. I checked the times on Monday. It's out of the theater. The last showing was that Thursday, and it was a 7 o'clock showing, and I was like, oh, damn it. All right. So I had to run down about, it was like an hour out of the way to go watch this thing. And like you said, I was the only damn person in there.
Well, yeah, because
And I knew I would be, right? So I took a headlamp.
Yep.
And I took my notebook, right? And I'm in there writing, right? And this poor woman who works there, like, comes in to, like, check the thermostat, but it was really like, what's this idiot doing in here with a headlamp kind of thing? Yeah, it's...
Well,
here's my receipt, and you have my Venmo, so
Okay.
I will take my $13.75 back.
definitely. When we started talking about doing the show here, I wanted to come up with a movie that none of us had seen. And then I saw, Borderlands comes out a few weeks before DragonCon. That's perfect. And so I tell you about it. You're like, okay.
We just finished our episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were fine with it.
Yeah.
I tell Phil about this, and what was your response?
No way in hell. And he's like, come on. I said, Travis, I have told everybody that I am friends with, like, I won't see it. I just won't see it.
You will not
right?
see
I
it.
will not see this. They're not going to get my $13.75, which I expect back at the end of this panel. My friend Dennis, he's like, I'm not going to go see it with you. And then you text me, and I was like, there is only one person in this world that can give me my $13.75 back, and it's going to be TV's Travis.
You were reticent then, so I told Travis, like, I happen to know the director of the digital media track. We can make him be on the panel because he's attending pro.
Right.
So, and strings got pulled, and you had to watch it.
Well, even Dennis, he gave me this website to watch it. Like, oh man, so like, you want me to waste 2 hours of my time and also get malware? Yeah. No, thank you.
So, all right, I watched the movie. I didn't love the movie, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't think it deserved the hate that it was getting. I thought it was fine. My biggest issue going into it wasn't even the casting, although I was a little concerned with Kevin Hart as Roland, only because I was worried he would be too Kevin Hart and too funny. But my biggest concern was Eli Roth. Because I'm not a big fan of Eli Roth.
Nobody's a fan of Eli Roth.
Eli Roth is a pretty big fan of
Yeah,
Eli
but
Roth.
Morrissey loves Morrissey. I mean, come on. You're talking about
fair.
psychopaths here.
But like that was my biggest concern. So I go and see the movie, and I was like, I mean, it was fine. It didn't offend me. I didn't want my money back from it, but you clearly did, Charles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't Yui Bowl. It wasn't Wes Anderson, so I was okay.
Those are your two
Wait a minute, hold on.
directors? The pantheon of terrible directors is Huey Boll and Wes Anderson?
So,
Jeez,
I wouldn't think it was going to be the biggest skag heap in the world. It was just going to be... And seeing that, I expected it to be worse than Alone in the Dark, whatever that horrible movie was. It beat it. It beat it.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing Pandora and his full color glory, I was like, it's kind of cool.
So that is the thing I will give this movie.
100%.
The look is spot on. Like it looks like
It looks
Borderlands.
great. It looks great, right? The set design, the environment design. Like, I loved how it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I loved
and
how it looked.
The costuming was real good.
Costuming was good.
All of that. So all right.
And I only have one other thing that I enjoyed in this movie.
Okay.
And so we'll just get it out of the way now. And I'm not going to just sit up here and crap on it the whole time. We'll see. But Marcus was dead on.
Yes.
Marcus was dead on. Like, the guy looks like Marcus. He talked like Marcus. He didn't care about you like Marcus. Like, Marcus was perfect for me.
Look, that bit on the bus.
Oh, that was
that
great.
was the best.
Absolutely
It's just the
loved
opening
it.
to Borderlands 1, and he hits the thing and it plays it anyway, and she finally says, turn this crap off. And
But we couldn't,
so
because
good.
that was only 15 minutes into the movie.
Right.
So we were
But
stuck
also,
there.
much like Borderlands 1, though, if you played your character over and over again, you had to go through that
Yep.
speech every time, no matter what. And I thought it was a great moment.
I did too. I thought Marcus was good. I liked a lot of the background characters. I liked Kate Blanchett as Lilith,
I
personally.
thought she did all right.
Because I think that she's a very good actor, but I also think the version of Lilith they were doing... Because the thing with this movie was, I went into it expecting all of the characters from Borderlands they have are going to be like rounded off, and all the edges are going to come off of them, because it's a movie, it's not the video game. Which is exactly what we got. The Tiny Tina that's in the movie is Tiny Tina, but they've changed some of her backstory. That didn't bother me so much, but I just would have liked for her to have been more more of an 11 on the scale of 1 to 10. That's what Tiny Tina is. She's always over the top.
They turned her way too down on the crazy.
Not only that, but like just that opening scene. That first scene with Lilith and Tiny Tina finally like meeting. Mm-hmm. That dialogue was so rough, right? And then the CGI of the collapse on that, like my friend Steve does animation, and I'm pretty much sure he could do better than that. It was just so janky and weird at the same time. It really took me out of it right away.
Sure. I mean, there were parts of, there were things that they didn't do that I'm not sure why they didn't. Like, you get, I need to catch a ride, and then we don't see Scooter.
You do.
We don't see him till the end, though.
No, yeah, you get a little cameo. If you don't know who he is, you don't know who he is. You never get to catch a ride!
And they needed that. They needed, they did have the cha-ching sound I heard when she gets paid.
Yeah.
That was nice. But it was things like that it was missing that I wanted.
I thought the only thing they did sound-wise almost 100% correct was Krieg. They get in all his one-liners except for one, which was the meat bicycle. They didn't get that one in.
Right.
But they got a lot of his classic lines, which he was a add-on character to the second game.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a lot of great lines. But the Skag, right? You come off the bus, and the Skag just yells and runs away. It's like, when have we ever seen a Skag just run away?
And one of them too,
just one.
That was disappointing. I was hoping for more of that. That was the thing I think that I came out of it from was I didn't hate the movie, but they could have done more with it in that world because they did such a good job making it look right. The Skag that we saw looked great.
The mouth came in, the sound was perfect.
We just didn't get enough of that. There was too much, and it was too much of Eli Roth wanting to tell his own story.
But hold on, but what do you expect when you only have a budget of $120 million, Travis? Like, what do you expect?
And
we're on a shoestring budget here, Travis.
Listen,
but to be fair, most of that went to platform shoes for Roland.
Okay, here's a funny thing though. So Kevin Hart's like 5'4", right? Roland is not that tall.
He's taller than that.
He's taller than that, but he's like 5'10". You know how tall the lore version of Krieg is in the game?
Oh, way shorter than what they made him.
5'4".
Yeah, and they made him.
And he's the guy playing him, Florian. I can't pronounce his last name.
Smith.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", but he looked the part. Like he's built the way Krieg should be built.
I agree. Yeah.
So, I thought that was funny, but there were things that they could have done better story-wise that they didn't do too, which did bother me because I didn't have a problem with them changing some of the backstories to fit what they were doing. It's an adaptation. I don't need the exact same story, or I can just go play the game. All right, what did they change? What bothered you?
No. I hear what you're saying, but do you feel the same way when you went into watching Ready Player One? That you don't need the same story on that?
No, because if I want that, I'll read the book.
Okay, fine.
If I want the exact same story of Lord of the Rings, I'll read the book.
No,
I want the adaptation. Because I want to see what they do. They didn't adapt it perfectly. There were the changes they made. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I didn't mind Tiny Tina having a backstory that ties her into the story that they're telling. I was okay with.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
That didn't bother me so much. Lilith, I didn't love the fact that she doesn't know that she's a siren this long into her life. And that was one that I was like, it just felt like something she would have picked up a lot younger, even though the story they're trying to tell is her mom knew already and was trying to shield her from it.
Yeah.
But I just, that just felt a little, I don't know, it just didn't work for me as much. Everything else about Lilith I thought was great, personally. And I loved when she becomes the Firehawk.
But they didn't explain that. We knew what it was, but if you're a casual audience, you have no clue why she did that.
That's the tough thing. So when you're adapting something like this, and you have not just a game, but you've got 4 games worth of story and characters, especially with Lilith, who is woven into I think all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
She becomes the anchor for all of it.
So you've got so much story to adapt. How do you balance that out is the tough part.
First, you play the game and experience what happens and not just take a script.
Well, I think that's where it comes with the writing, right? That's up to the writer. And the thing is, the original script that was submitted for this movie was completely changed by I almost call him Yuli Pole. By Roth, to the point where the writer of the script put a fake name on it because he didn't want to be tied to it, right? So like it's kind of like the original Ant-Man movie, right?
Yeah.
It changed so much. Like I want to know what that script was, right? I want to see what that script was going to be before it got completely changed around.
Because it's one of those things. You brought up a good point, though. Play the game first. You need somebody who understands what they're adapting.
I don't think. Okay, the creators,
Yes.
the people.
Yes. The creators of a thing. If you're adapting a story, understand the story, and if you like the story, that's even better. And I think that's the hard part. It's sort of. It's not a direct comparison, but the Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins. The directors of that didn't know the game at all.
8 out of 10, one of the best adaptations. Yes.
Yeah, take his microphone. Mute him.
I will die on that hill. Alone, but I will die.
But they didn't know the game. They didn't know, so they had an idea that they tried to shoehorn into this world, and that's what this felt like a little bit.
Right? What do you know?
And that's the hard part, and that's where that was my biggest concern going in was Eli Roth, because I just didn't think he was going to bring the right thing to it, and I don't think he did. It was missing something, and that something was a love of the material.
You had no chance to buy into the characters, and I think that's what, for me, that's part of what the game is drawn. I'm drawn to in the game is every new character I start has a story. The planet has a story. The non-player characters have a story. In fact, Scooter's story became so powerful that when he actually passed away, and then we come to 3, and you get the billboards on the sign, like the person voicing Scooter passed away. And I had to tell people that you need to go play Tales from Borderlands because they actually play that out in that storyline. And you were talking about adapting a story. Tales from Borderlands understood what the world was and wrote their own story. And then as that he was also a programmer or whatever for the company. But as the voice of Scooter went through his illness and passed away, they wrote that storyline in and gave him a great send-off in the game. And then it comes into the mainline games. Yeah. That's that adaptation that you just don't get. You don't care about anybody else in this whole film if you don't already know who they are.
Do you think it would have been more well received if the main character of the movie was one of the classes that you get to play as a player, like pick as a player? Or do you think that probably would have been a completely disaster as well?
Well, I mean, it's Roth, everything.
Well,
I mean, if you don't love the game, if you don't know the story, if you don't get that connection, it's not going to be good.
Right, but our main character is Lilith is one of those characters.
Yeah.
So she is, even though they try to pull the swerve of like, oh, it's Tina's the special one.
The key?
Yeah, she's the key. Well, if you're familiar with the games at all, you kind of already know that's not true.
Yeah.
But I wanted more of the stuff around those characters, because the characters we got, like I thought Jamie Lee Curtis as Tanis was a good casting choice.
Yeah, decent.
And she did a good job of being, again, a toned down version of what Tanis is in the games.
It literally felt for me that she didn't want to be there. Like her lines were just as woodenly delivered as possible, right? And it just, for me, it was just like, oh man, like I love you, and this is it. Just for me, it felt like you could be anywhere else right now.
Well, I think,
let's get this done. Let's get out. Let's get, because they shot where? They shot somewhere awful.
Oh, I don't remember.
Because I know she was yelling at Jack Black because he did all the voiceover back at home, and she's like, "What the hell? We had to go out in the terrible heat and film this movie."
So, Jack Black, by the way, what did you think of him as Claptrap? If you're not going to have the original voice actor for Claptrap.
So, I read a lot of hate about Claptrap, but, like, that's who Claptrap is. Like,
yeah.
His lines are annoying through the game. You want to shoot him constantly. So, it didn't really affect me the same way that, like, a lot of people were complaining about online.
Mm-hmm.
I also play a lot of that. I think it's called Poker Night 2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah.
Terrible at it, but he's also in that, and he's always busting my balls in that game. So like, I was fine with it.
Okay.
But it comes to they just turned the volume down on it. They thought, oh, this would be too much. I feel like they said this is going to be too much for a movie going audience. This Claptrap is up to 11. And much like you and your annoying jokes, at some point it circles back around and it's funny again. And you have to laugh because you love the idiot.
You love the idiot.
Yeah. And by the time you get to Borderlands 3, I'm looking for Claptrap. Even my wife, the first movie, she's like, first game, turn the sound off, right? By the second game, though, she's like, he's funny. And by the third game, she's like, will you play it in the living room so I can just hear you play the game? Because she wants to hear the one-liner.
Sure.
Right?
But for me, it's drinks. Like, no drinks, terribly not funny.
Yeah.
Once you have one drink, I'm a little bit more entertaining, too. Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Thank you. You want some wine?
The other track sponsors, AA. Please find a meeting tonight.
It's Animorphs Anonymous.
But my take on Jack Black was he was a good choice, but then they brought it down to a 5. And all his lines didn't. None of his lines mattered. He didn't matter. None of Claptrap mattered in this movie at all.
And I didn't laugh at any of them.
Right.
But it's like, I didn't find him annoying because that's what Claptrap does.
You gave away the one good joke is when they kicked him down the hole, right? Because the whole thing was Claptrap gets defeated by stairs. They did it at San Diego Comic-Con for 3 and all. But you put that in the previews. Like, that's your only good joke. Why'd you put that in the previews?
That's true. And I don't... That's a whole other discussion we could have about trailers giving away too many of the good moments. Where was I going? Okay, the villain in this is Atlas, and Edgar Ramirez playing him. That was another problem I had. It was very forgettable. There was just nothing. There was no there for me. I don't necessarily need Handsome Jack, although I had a lot of people telling me that that's who it should have been. So Charles, you think that it should have been Handsome Jack?
Isn't Eli Roth like a horror film director?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have leaned in more if you really just let Handsome Jack be Handsome Jack? That would have fit Eli Roth's method of directing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, I could take anybody else, but I think with that pairing, it would have been better is all.
All right. Phil, what about... Do you think
100%.
You think Handsome Jack would have been the way to go?
He's so charismatic and beautifully written for it. It would have been the smartest choice.
So... Question now, do you think that they didn't go with him because they were hoping that this would do well enough that they could have him in the sequel?
100%. Yeah, and that leads me to wonder, right? We've had so many beautiful shows come out recently of video game properties. It's like, maybe this movie should never have been made, and it should have been put onto the small screen where you have time to develop these backstories of these very complex characters, right? And then make him the big bad, kind of like The Walking Dead did with Lucille.
Oh, Negan. Yeah.
Negan, right? Have him be a villain, but over multiple series, right?
Yeah,
So-
anybody that's heard my show before has heard me beat that horse to death of like
With a
this
baseball bat.
thing needs to be a series because you want, and I would agree with that because there's so much world here to build and the characters. Like Moxie is in this, but barely and kind of pointlessly. And I don't think Gina Gershon was a bad casting choice for Moxie, but what they did was nothing.
Yeah.
Much like with Atlas. I don't think
6 minutes of time,
right.
if that, through the whole movie.
And that's kind of the theme that I had while watching. It was like there was bits and parts that seemed okay, but like when you saw Scooter and Ellie at the end, the cameo, I want to see them as characters.
And it's a shame because like the Fallout fans got such a beautiful adaptation, right? And this will probably be it for Borderlands. Even with a new game coming out, I don't think anybody, will greenlight another project unless
I think it depends.
willing. I mean, it made like $3 million.
That's too much.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be good.
They made 26.2.
I wanted it to be good, like for the same reason you want it to be good. Is we can get a better director, we can do better things with it, but I don't think it got trashed so fast as it even hit the theater that I think it will be wild. But it depends on if Borderlands 4, which that teaser trailer that tells you nothing, got me so hyped for Borderlands 4. I don't even. And then Tiny Tina's game 2, or the Dungeons and Dragons version that she does, Wonderland 2 is going. If those go gangbusters, I think you can convince a different property to go in, like a Netflix or a Hulu or somebody to fund that and go in a different direction.
I don't know. I think it's going to be years. I really do.
Could be.
I really do. And
Yeah, it's hard to see anything on the screen happening with this anytime soon. I do wonder though how much of the hate on this was unfounded in that it was folks who didn't see it at all and just dismissed it without because again, I went in with low expectations, but I didn't hate it. I came out of the movie and I was like, hey, it was fine. Like I equated it to a watch it at home type movie. I wouldn't have.
I have a website for that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't get malware, I swear.
Of course.
Patreon.com/BoschPodcast.
That's true.
But I mean, if the buzz around the movie wasn't so negative ahead of time, do you think it could have done better than it did?
I do, but then people would go to see it, right? And so, like, the trailer was so poorly reviewed, right, that it kind of stumbled right out of the gate. I think once the word is out, you would probably have a pretty strong opening weekend, but the trail off would be completely gone. I still think, like, this should have been animated.
Oh yeah,
right.
Animated
There's
would have
so
been
much adult animation going on right now.
We call it anime.
No.
Yes.
Don't set me up in that trap. But like an animated, this would have been. Were you guys waiting for any kind of cell shading?
Yeah,
because
I was.
I was sitting in there.
Credits, something.
So,
yeah.
and a friend of mine, he's sitting right over there, Charlie, brought up a good point, which was one thing we were missing visually were the still frame slugs when you would introduce a character.
Damn, that would have been dope.
We got him in the credits,
right, we got a little bit.
but
We should have had Charlie direct. Jesus.
obviously he knows what he's talking about,
Charlie
right?
knows what he's talking about.
And I just wonder, like, again, that I feel like is something that somebody who loved the property would do. You know, because that's such an intrinsic part of the game and the feel of the game.
Yeah.
And the cell shading as well, that style. I did love the masks that they would wear.
I hated them.
And
Really?
we've seen so many fantastic cosplayers make themselves look like real life cell shading.
There's
no reason.
there's nothing I love more than walking down the street and seeing a Borderlands person.
Yeah.
Just beautifully painted. It's just like, out of my way. I want to tell you how much you look great. Those masks were dumb. Those masks were dumb. And I even wrote a note about it somewhere.
It says those masks are dumb.
It says those masks are dumb.
All right, well.
It says, what's the point of these masks if everybody can see right through them? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
to
the
me.
hollow mask was because we don't have that in the game anywhere, right? We don't see hollow masks.
I didn't
No.
think
That was
that anybody
kinda
could see
nifty
through them,
visual,
though,
but it
because,
was
like, Marcus recognizing her had nothing to do with the mask. It was
Right.
he recognized her weapon.
But Roland in the bar, immediately the throwaway character, Bobby Lee.
Oh, yeah, Bobby Lee's character.
Yeah, I thought he was fun.
okay.
I love
But
Bobby Lee.
I thought,
What
I
a
thought he was fun,
bad
but it's a
No, that
character
was-
that doesn't move the story forward. But he recognized through the mask instantly.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
what good is the mask?
That was a thing. We
It was
just
very
didn't need,
beautiful.
though.
I loved looking at it, but it didn't make sense.
Well, and we just didn't need the Bobby Lee stuff at all, really. It was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I
But,
love Bobby Lee, though.
yeah, I
Well,
like him.
yeah.
I just didn't think it worked
No, it
in the
didn't
movie.
fit.
So before I want to ask for some comments from the audience, but I do have a couple of audio clips I'd like to play from the movie because I like to do that. And a couple of them were Krieg lines you mentioned. This one, the audio quality is a little suspect on these, so I apologize for that.
Did
but
what we could to get it for the show.
yeah, considering it just hit digital streaming 8 hours ago. So here's a Krieg line.
Meat soup.
Yeah. Meat suit.
Meat soup. The Caustic Caverns. I like that they at least name dropped places.
Yeah.
But one of the things was you had they had to crawl or climb over the Caustic Caverns and move along, and it's threatening for like 10 seconds, and then they're just past it, and it's fine again.
Well, that's the thing. There was no risk in this movie.
There
There
wasn't.
was
There
zero
were no
risk.
guns in this movie either.
Well, Borderlands isn't known about guns, man. Come on.
Do you
What the hell
not
are you
remember?
talking about?
I remember
I
how
only
they.
melee through Borderlands.
Well, that was Krieg in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Krieg. Yeah.
But
Borderlands
yeah,
is about the gun. Have you even played the game?
I was just waiting for my bullet poured, and it didn't happen. They picked up one gun. They picked up one gun in the whole movie. I'm like, I'm ready to walk out. There's nobody else in the theater, and I'm
It
ready to
wasn't
walk
even
out.
sparkling and
Yeah, wait.
colorful and stuff.
It didn't do a wave.
What the
It didn't
heck?
do anything.
I did like Lilith's pistol though.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was a good one. Another Krieg line, just because Krieg was the best thing in this movie.
Hero.
I will lick your spine clean.
It was real
That's
good.
a good one.
For as annoying as Claptrap can be, he had a couple of funny moments for me. I thought a couple of them were okay. This one wasn't necessarily funny out loud, but I liked this line
Ooh, no electricity provoked defecation.
when Bobby Lee poops himself.
Yeah, no, I know. I was there.
You didn't do a
1375.
thing for you?
Nope.
No.
I'm also a little angry at Jack Black about ruining Tenacious D, so I'm a little salty on him right now.
All right, fair enough. I just like this exchange.
You said you wanted to help?
I said I'm programmed.
That's a very claptrap
That was
moment.
That's very contrary.
So, and
here's why I hate that line. I hate that line because it's at the beginning of the movie where you meet Claptrap. It gave me this shimmering bit of hope, just this tiny bit of hope. Like, oh, he basically telling her to F off. That's very Clap. And then no.
But he did that a lot in the movie. There was a lot of moments of him saying stuff like that to her.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do say this though now when I'm scanning something.
Stabbing, 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 stabbing.
That's very happy.
Stabbing, stabbing.
I can't help it. Like, it's just in my head now, and I do occasionally have to scan stuff. Last clip, and this is the one for you.
Okay. I'm worried.
So I'm listening to the movie as I'm recording all of this, and this happens.
Whoa!
We don't know where that came from. But
I don't.
I was wondering if you get any laughs from the movie.
I don't remember that in the movie, and I've seen it twice. I might be the only person that's seen it twice. I don't know.
Eli's parents didn't even see it twice.
But one more time. And now I have that forever.
Oh, wow.
And it's going on my soundboard.
That'll be good.
Because I capture laughs.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
So we may or may not have put an audio recorder in when we saw the movie. And I was going, man, I hope I don't come through on any of those recordings.
There were a few more of them. I'm just going to say.
You had fun.
What can
That's
you do?
great.
No, man. So I sent them both a meme before we came here about, hey, it's a skit on TikTok about movie pitches.
It's bad
like,
pitches.
Yeah, bad movie pitches. Like, hey, you know when the best time to do Borderlands was? 10 years ago. When it's popular. Yeah, but then 9 years ago. And it comes down to, it's like a 5-minute skit that's on point with everything in my book. It's like, we're really writing this movie for that one little boy out there who has a vague recollection of what Borderlands might be, but is not actually a fan. I don't think that boys exist. The guy who went with me to the movie, that's that boy. He remembers playing Borderlands 1. He's like, hey, Borderlands movie's coming out. I was like, I know, I have to do a panel about it. He's like, you want to go see it? I'm like, sure. He walked out of the movie, like, that was pretty good. I'm like, you're that boy. You have a vague recollection of what the game was. But he liked it. He enjoyed the crap.
So the problem was they needed millions of that boy, and they had him.
Yeah, they had him. That was it.
I didn't even like it on edibles. Come on.
So how many people in the room have seen the movie?
No. Okay.
Wait for it to, now that's on digital.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay, all
6,
right.
7, 8.
And of all of you that saw it, how many of you absolutely hated it like Phil?
Good.
Oh, yeah, one. Yeah,
You got one.
But,
Okay.
but that's fine. Like, you're allowed to like things that you like. And no, my opinion shouldn't matter.
I would
Not
say,
entirely, anyway.
Well, you know what?
ask Morgan, not ever.
Leave her out of this.
I wish I could, but you drug me to this. I was middle ground. Like I said, I love the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I had some fun moments with it. I think I was just disappointed with all the could-haves.
That is the biggest
there.
thing for me was the missed opportunities and the that's why, like, for me, it was sort of that 5, 6 out of 10. Like, I'd watch it at home. I'd have a good time watching it with some friends that maybe played the games, but it was the untapped potential of, like, they had the visuals down, so whoever was doing production design knew what they were doing. It's just, to Phil's point, the writing. The writing was what hurt it.
So who
because
do you think
the
could have
story.
directed this? If you were going to cast it, or not cast, but if you were going to pick a director who would do well with this, who do you think would go well into that Borderlands?
That's hard for me to say,
Okay.
because I can't think of a director just off the top of my head that has the visual style. Like, I'm sure if I sat down and really thought about it, I could come up with somebody.
Boy
But
Kills World.
Boy That Kills World.
Boy Kills World. That's
the
who
Bill Skarsgård movie.
Yeah, that's who I'd have directed. Because I watched that Boy Kills World months ago before it came out, even, and was like, "This is our Borderlands movie. It was John Wick meets Borderlands. It was just so that director's whoever that is. That's who I'd put in."
Okay. Here's a question, and we'll open it up out here too. Should this have been R-rated? Do you think that hurt it going PG-13?
100%. Like, that's not even a question. 100% it should have been rated R. The comedy is rated R. It's a gun porn game. Like, there's no reason.
And all the jokes are right up in the rated R, the good ones.
That's
Yeah.
that's the
And
part.
that's
So
the
that's
thing.
the thing. The humor is what pushes it to R-rated more so than the gunplay. You can have your action and gunplay in a PG-13 movie and pull that off.
So
Yeah.
is that why they rewrote it? Is my question, right? Was the original script rated R, and they said no, we got to dumb this down and give it to little Eli and let him rewrite the damn thing?
Because that feels like a marketing decision to go PG-13 with it, and not a filmmaking decision to me. Like, I don't think Eli Roth is taking this job thinking I'm going to make a PG-13 version of Borderlands.
I agree. It's definitely the studio at that point.
So, and like Deadpool has proven that R-rated niche things can work and work well.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have learned that lesson and tried that, but it's that you got to hit the 4 quadrants and get everybody in. So that's another part of that kind of where it hurts the potential of what this could have been by doing that.
I want to read my last note.
Your last
that I
note,
wrote,
okay.
Yeah, before we open it up to people. I wrote, where is it? Oh, there it is, the movie. Because not only did it happen once in a giant warehouse full of 6 days worth of boxes, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna take us 6. There it is. Oh, great. Let's grab it. And then it happened a second time when they're looking for the. Son of a bitch. It happened a second time when they're looking for a vault. Like, it could be anywhere, and they just move a little bit of rubble. Oh, there it is, the movie.
Yeah. So I didn't hate the first time because I thought, okay, we're starting to play into Lilith is drawn to it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go somewhere that it should have gone, I think. Now the second time, oh, I stepped on the button. Look at that, it's glowing blue. It's good.
Well, and the second time was Krieg finding it.
Yes.
Just like out of nowhere.
What about the vault? though?
There it is, the movie. Yeah.
The vault. Tina. Why is Tina not getting powers when she goes into the vault? Because they built her up as this clone, whatever.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a
And
clone of
go
an
to the vault.
Iridium.
The vault was kind of beautiful, but that was the end of it.
So, but that did remind me of
And
the
where's
first
the
game.
guardian of the vault? Every vault has a guardian, man. Come on.
Right, but that kind of reminded me of the first game where the vault was nothing but tentacles and disappointment.
Yeah.
Much like Phil's life.
Yeah.
The
No
director,
shame.
though. The director's name, if you don't want to look it up, Moritz Mohr. M-O-H-R. Moritz
Moore?
Mohr.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So that's who you would have
That's
had.
who I'd had directed.
All right.
Yeah.
I still have to watch that movie. So
It's a very fun movie.
But he won't have you back on the show to
To
have
talk
him
about
on
it. No way you haven't, see?
look, we can make that happen.
Can we, though?
Maybe. I know a guy. Do we have?
right here. Because
So, for those of you that saw the movie, what was there anything in it that you absolutely you really liked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we have an
Wait,
open
no,
mic.
We got a
right
mic.
here.
Right up
He's
front.
been drinking. I don't know if we're going to try this again.
We're fine. He's fine. Don't judge
Let's
him.
see.
Don't judge him.
So there was the one scene where they're getting chased by the Atlas soldiers, get on the way to the vault, and they have to go through Piss Wash Gully.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it's just some canyon in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Now it's an entire just thresher-filled pit of literal piss that they have to actually go through.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? That's infinitely better than what we got the first time, so I like it.
I did write also a note about Piss Gully. The army that was going after them. What was
The Crimson
lead?
Raiders?
Yeah, the Crimson Raiders. What was the lead? Her
Knox.
name?
Oh,
Knox,
Knox,
right? Knox, right?
There's a DLC in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
second
yeah,
game.
yeah. None of them had masks on. If you
Right,
look, they all
yeah.
are just open faced taking piss and
Well, I love
Just piss
to that
face.
though. I did love the name drop. I love that at least in the first game, I discovered very quickly if you drive a vehicle, you can kill everything with one shot. Doesn't matter what boss it is or not. If you have a vehicle, and so for them to kill the Thresher by going through it, I was like, I like that little throwback.
That was fun. Yeah. Anyone else with anything from the movie that they actually liked or didn't like? We can go with that too. Was there something that did not work for you at all?
And while we got two coming up,
Yeah.
but here's a question to think about. If you haven't seen it, why'd you come to this panel? Because we're ruining it for you. Hopefully not, but yeah.
yeah, very sweaty.
Go ahead.
I just wish there was more of Roland. Like everyone criticizes Kevin Hart's performance, but I'm like, but he's just there. He doesn't have any character moments. He doesn't actually have any meaningful interactions. Like I feel like it was just such a missed opportunity to like even have like, why is he even in this movie? Because he doesn't actually do anything other than like shoot things, and then like they have the fake out death. And like I was glad that he got up because I'm traumatized from Borderlands 2 from that. But like, but at the same time, like, what is Kevin Hart like? Like I feel like him being criticized is unfair because the way it was written, he doesn't actually do anything in the movie, and we don't get anything from him.
And I'm 100% with you on that because I was also worried about going in because I'm not a Kevin Hart fan at all.
Sure.
And I thought what he had to work with, he did great, and I don't know why he's getting so much hate about it.
That was one I will agree with. Like, he didn't deserve the hate for it because I thought he was fine.
He
didn't
fine.
do what I was worried he would do, is go to Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he never got that high-pitched
nobody
voice
thought
or
he was dead, right? Like,
No.
just like
Of course
Chewbacca.
not.
Nobody thought Chewbacca died in whatever that movie
What
was
about Han
called
Solo?
at the end. Huh?
What? No. But two missed opportunities there. No tech. Roland had all the great tech in there.
Yeah.
No tech.
Good.
Right. Second one,
Best point
he
you've ever
easily
made.
could have died, and we got a regeneration station, right? And you get, thank you for spending your money. You know, nothing.
Yeah, we didn't have a single digistruct of anything
That's it.
Yeah.
in the movie. Go ahead.
I did have a favorite moment from the trailer, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, and that was the moment where Claptrap said it's bordering time, and he started borderlanding all over the place. But I did have a serious question though. Like, do you think, because Borderlands is such a weird ass world and everything, do you think it could have benefited from like the structure of Fallout? Where it's explained over a longer period of time in a series rather than a 2-hour slap-together movie that's been rewritten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it would work, but I think anything that that is adapting so much story and lore. You've got 3.5, 4 games plus, not counting the Tiny Tina DLCs, of lore to build off of. That I think it's better served that way, and your budget, because this is what, $120 million budget, something like that.
Shoestring. Yeah, we said that.
And it looks great for that, but
Just
it
walking around money.
doesn't look too good.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't look like you could have gotten that same look on a smaller screen, a smaller budget, and stretch it out.
I agree.
So yeah, no, I think so for sure.
But also, what I know it's Borderlands, and I am going to talk about Fallout. But what Fallout did great was they took the IP and the property and made their own story, right? Because we all, as if we play Fallout, we all make our own stories. We don't all have the same path, and that's where it kind of worked perfectly for them, where they put it in a world that we know so well, right? And even in that pawn shop that they had, we saw little things that we know, right?
Yeah.
Which, it's funny because I have friends who watch Fallout that have never played a Fallout game, right? And they loved it so much. And that's, if they would have done that and made a story just on Pandora of like just a random person and then bring these characters in to interact with them, it would have worked so well.
I didn't watch Fallout yet, but watched The Last of Us. And as I'm going through the first episode of Last of Us, like, I remember getting to that part, and I never finished that game. I realized I never played past the first episode of The Last of Us.
Too scary?
Yeah.
It was too scary for you?
Yeah.
Too scary.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I can't be brave like you.
That's right.
But that world, so I only knew like
so
that
brave.
first episode, and then that world built out. It was fantastic. If you, my wife never saw any of the games. She loved the series. So yeah, I mean, I think
It is interesting though to have a story set in that world with a character that's not from the game, because that's a tough line to walk, because you get into like the Mortal Kombat thing. The latest Mortal Kombat movie, the thing I liked the least about that was the character that had nothing to do with the game that they created for the movie.
Yeah.
Felt like, why would you do that when you have all these other characters to pull from? So it's you
Yeah,
can pull it off.
You can, and especially with Borderlands, there's so many, like even in the little cities that we go to, there's so many characters that we could just, you know, or you know, have them start as like a waiter or a waitress in Moxie's bar, right, and base the story around, you know, that, and then have them be pulled into the craziness that's happening that's around the movie. Like, I'm not saying that I could have written a better movie.
You're almost talking about like Disney's Three Musketeers from the '90s, where D'Artagnan just shows up.
Hold on.
What do I want to do? I want to be a musketeer. But that formula would have worked. 3 experienced Pandora and Vault Hunters giving grief.
She's not a Vault Hunter.
Yeah, she's not.
Did you not?
She was originally.
She's not a
She
Vault
was
Hunter.
She will always be a Vault Hunter in my heart.
Part.
We got a question.
We got a question from the stream.
All right, I'm going to read a couple of comments and then adapt a question for here.
Sure.
Let's see. First, Papa SDF says, crazy that Eli Roth toned stuff down. Hostel was way over the top.
Right.
All right, yeah.
VO by Kurt says Charles should have been Tiny Tina.
I'd pay to see that.
Deadman 404 says we need the Philip Keating cut of Borderlands.
That 100% agree with.
And Papa SDF, TV series are far more appropriate for video game franchises, in his opinion.
No, I agree with that.
And
100%.
then for kind of discussion, if you were the director, what would you do?
I'm gonna start with Phil on that one.
If I was the director?
Yeah, if you were directing this.
Yeah, if you were.
How would I? What would I just would have went home.
So you wouldn't want to adapt Borderlands.
No. I to be honest with you, I don't think it can work as a live action. And I think it should be animated. I really do. Right? Take well, yeah. You know what? Animate the shit out of it. I think it would work perfectly fine. What's that show on Netflix? The robots.
Love, Death, and Robots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Make it in that style. Have different directors and different art styles, but still keep it kind of cell shaded and whatnot. It should have been animated.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that. Charles,
I mean,
how about
that kind of that point. Not so much anime. I think it can work live action, but I would have started with a Love, Death, Robot style of vignettes, Tales from the Borderlands, of where you're starting to get introduced to all the characters that are going to be in the movie. Avenger style, build up the team till you show the team, and that way we care about everything.
That's an interesting point that you didn't mean to make. Is like do a viral.
How dare you assume my gender?
Do a viral kind of like 5-minute YouTube videos on each character that's not filmed or part of the movie, right?
Right. It has
Getting you familiar with each character, throwing it on TikTok or YouTube, and so by the time you're going into this, you find out why they're stuck in jail and why why they have glass doors.
Why they have Krieg in a glass prison.
Exactly. Right? But that would work out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I know. That's why I said it.
You would be a good director.
What would you do as a director?
I mean, the first thing that I would do is really pull a lot from the games, the things that work, the visual style of it. I think animating it is probably a better way to go, but stretching the story out so that, to your point, we care about these characters. Because you just kind of don't. Like, Nox gets killed. No, I didn't
who
care.
cares?
Yeah. And that should work.
Yeah.
But it doesn't here because she's not a character at all. She's a one-dimensional thing in the movie. She barely has any screen time. So why do we care that it happens at?
Just like Nox in Star Wars, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I would do that and then incorporate more of the side characters from the games into the movie. Marcus was great, but we need Scooter, we need Ellie, we need Hammerlock, we need these different characters, even if they're cameos and just coming in and coming out.
They have the original recordings of Scooter. Just to hear that voice come out of a machine would have been hard.
Even just that, like they go to because she says, "I've got to catch a ride," and then she steals a car from some bandits and Crimson Raiders.
Yeah.
Have her just go up to a catch-a-ride. She's from Pandora. She should know about those.
Right.
Go up to a catch-a-ride. You hear his voice, and that's it. That would have been great. That's the kind of stuff that they didn't do.
Would have saved the movie.
That I wanted to see.
Look, 2K Games, you hire me for the next one. We'll make it for $100 million.
There you go. You have a question.
So we've been talking about how there's kind of too much Borderlands to shove into one movie. But what if it was Borderlands 1, the movie? No Tiny Tina, no Krieg. Instead you get Rick and Mordecai. Do you think that would have worked better?
I do kind of wish they had done that. I mean, I get when you have that much going on, you start to pick and choose from it. Because like Borderlands 2 has a better story than Borderlands 1. Borderlands 1 doesn't really have much of a story at all. And you've got characters like Krieg or Tiny Tina that everyone loves, and so I understand from a marketing standpoint, you put those characters in to try and draw people in.
Nobody loved them until they saw them.
Yes, and so I would do that. I would have kept it to more of the characters from that first game and build yourself to it. But again, if you're doing something like a series, your first 6 episodes can be that. And then you go into your second season, you start introducing more characters. So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. We have another question.
So this is kind of like a conversation I had with a friend already about the movie, but do you think that because of all the things from Borderlands that were missing, if they had rebranded this as just like generic sci-fi treasure hunting movie, would it have been kind of received better or viewed better by you guys? Because even though you had low expectations going into it, you still expected a Borderlands movie.
Yeah.
I mean...
Generic sci-fi national treasure.
Pretty much, yeah, with, the comedy aspects.
Yeah. No, I think 100%. It would have been a popcorn movie, right?
Because that's how I felt about it. As a popcorn, just fun little adventure movie, I kind of liked it. But as a Borderlands adaptation, it was just okay. So yeah, I think so. I think that
Worlds. Sponsored by Wish.
I mean that plays into my theory with I think I told you this. My theory with Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
What's
if you
that?
taken Indiana Jones out, just said the Adventure of the Crystal Skull, it'd have been a fun movie. But we're looking for Indiana Jones.
I think you forget about that jungle scene.
The monkeys with pompadours. That's all I'll say. No, I'm with that because I think a lot of it comes down to expectations when you go into a movie.
Yeah.
Can really play into it. Like, if you are a huge Star Wars fan and you go and see a Star Wars movie that isn't what you want it to be, it's immediately not going to be any good.
So you're saying I didn't enjoy this because Thursday morning before I went to see the movie, I hit a deer and did $4,000 worth of damage to my car, and then had a really bad day at work, and stubbed my toe is why I didn't like Borderlands?
I'm saying that didn't help you like the movie.
You shocked this one into she's speechless. No. If he hadn't put off the movie, the universe wouldn't have stopped him in the way, okay? He had to go get his punishment first.
I wanted to go on Tuesday. They pulled the movie on Thursday. I didn't have any other option.
The universe wanted to wait till you hit the deer.
And it's so true because, after I got out of work, just so angry. I was like, you know what? Let's just double down on this shit. Let's just ruin everything. Let's go see Borderlands.
How is Borderlands not better than a deer splattering across your windshield?
Because here's the thing.
It was $13.75, not $4,000.
I gotta up how much you owe me, by the way. No, I was very close of stopping my car and kicking it into the throat. And I looked for it when I came back, and it was gone. So, either I didn't kill it, which makes me angrier, or somebody picked it up and then ate it. I live in the Appalachia. That's normal.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question.
So, I guess more of a provoking commentary, because earlier you asked how many of us had seen the movie, and obviously it was a minority of the room. And then you followed up with, so why are we all doing here? And I believe I have an answer for that.
Okay.
So I think a vast majority of people enjoy a little bit of Schadenfreude, especially for Hollywood falling flat on its face. Always enjoyable. 2K recently, enjoyable. But everyone's very invested in Borderlands as a franchise.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who want to be in on the discussion. They want details. They want to know what went on. They want to know what happened in the movie. But we're not willing to pay for what we all know is a very bad, spoiled experience. Because I don't want to be as mad as Philip. And I don't want to pay $80 to take me and my wife to then walk away mad. So I feel like there is, in Borderlands in particular, because how long running the franchise is and how long running the franchise is seeming to go on, because there's going to be 4, there's going to be the Tiny Tina sequel. We know this is going to be running for a while. Bringing back to the commentary of, will there be more media? I think so, because clearly just the hubbubaloo discussion around all of this indicates that there is clearly a lot of investment in the discussion, which means that there should be follow-up.
Also, the next... I agree with you. Well, I kind of hope. I hope with you. if we do get any more content from the Borderlands franchise, it's going to be really good, right? They're not going to let it fall on their face like this has. So, like, that's exciting to know that you have to fail first to get something really great.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I wonder too if this hadn't been a theatrical movie, if it had gone to direct streaming, if maybe something changes in the expectations of what you're getting.
huh?
And
Well, you're talking about paying for it. I got mad because I didn't hit a deer, but I have an
Yet.
I have the
You haven't hit a deer yet.
AMC A-lister, so I was going to be using my passes, so I don't have to pay for it. Then my son took my passes that day, and I couldn't double book, so I had to pay $20 to go see this, and I blamed him. I told him I wish he was adopted, because I don't want him anymore.
Leave us throwaway babies alone.
we have time for one more.
All right. Comment and question. Sure. Comment. Hitting that deer, more accurate experience to the Borderlands movie than the Skags.
It's true. It's true.
It did blow the F up. The front of my car, at least. That didn't. Yeah.
And his head shrunk and went, murder! He lost his helmet.
So real quick before we get out of here, y'all.
He's got a question.
Oh, you have another question. I'm sorry.
Like, last question is, if you were to take one thing from the movie and then just kind of make it more like, make the Caustic Caverns more like the games, or take General Knox and maybe, I don't know, turn her into Commandant Steele, someone with like just as much screen time and just as little impact. If you were to do one thing from the movie like that, what would you do, and who would you choose it for?
Oh, I can tell you what I would have done, which is Tiny Tina. I would have amped her up to an 11 and just gone batshit with her.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about Tiny Tina in the games, is she is just like 10 pounds of crazy in a 5-pound bag, and I love it.
And we've seen it work before with
Yeah.
Hit Girl, right?
Yeah,
With
exactly,
Kick-Ass,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
the thing. I didn't think that Ariana Greenblatt was bad. It was just,
she's great, actually.
it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would not have used the set of the side quests of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without actually spoofing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, that pissed me off.
They did exist. I forgot about that in Borderlands 2. They
Yeah,
did exist.
it's one of the side quests in Borderlands, and that's what that sewer is basically. Is they're going through that sewer. I'm like, oh, throw something on the wall, so some kind of reference, and yeah, just it went there.
Man, I really wanted to see guns. Man, I wanted to see guns.
Yes.
And like people throwing their guns away because they find better guns. Like that's what I wanted, right? But
Yeah.
it's just me.
Well, as much as you hated the movie, both of you.
I didn't hate it. I was a little disappointed, like your mom.
All right.
Sorry.
Ouch. I'm really glad that I made you both watch it, and we got to sit here and talk about it, because this has
I
been a
had
lot.
fun here on the panel drinking wine.
I love you, Phil.
I love you too, Travis. Now, real quick before we wrap up, what's your favorite bad video game movie?
I mean, my favorite bad video game movie, and I slagged on it already, but Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario's? Because they were drunk the whole time while filming it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, drunk
Bob
Bob
Hoskins.
Hoskins is great.
Yeah.
You have one?
I can't think of one specifically, but I remember like the 90s, some of the ones that came out in the 90s. I still like them, and then they don't hold up. But it's all we had. So I liked what people did with them. I not Super Mario Bros. That one was bad.
What about Double Dragon? Yeah.
No, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter? Okay.
I like Street Fighter because it's what we had. Is the last time you got to see your
Look,
Did you play Street Fighter the movie, the game? Did you ever get to play that?
I did. I did play that.
I mean,
Raul Julia.
yes.
Look, we didn't deserve. We did not deserve what he gave us in that movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like the Warcraft movie a lot.
And was it The Name of the King with Statham as the farmer? That was a great bad movie.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I love that.
I'll
that
let
Warcraft movie, and I will defend it till the day I die in a couple hours. Just to see Murlocs run around in the forest, man, that's all I need is Murlocs.
Fair
I
enough.
still haven't watched that yet.
No, you will hate it, but I love it.
I don't know. I don't play World War.
They should have done the Arthur story. I know we're talking about Borderlands here, but we'll get into Warcraft later. I'm probably going to go home and play that because the new expansion just came out.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is an intervention. Put it down.
For the Horde. Anyway.
I just want to say, like, Phil, Charles, thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you, everybody who showed up here at DragonCon.
Let me
This is only the second time I've done this show live in front of anyone. I did it a few months ago in Las Vegas in front of about 12 people.
It was 15,000 people. More than saw Borderlands.
Hey, look, there's more than saw Borderlands in here tonight, so that's what matters. But thank you all for showing up and doing this. And I do this show. I do this show every week. I've been doing it every week for the last 5.5 years now. I've missed 1 week in all of that time because I am insane and I have a problem. And you're all feeding into that, so I appreciate you all so much. If you enjoy this show, you can find it anywhere you get podcasts. And I do normally stream live on Sunday nights, live recordings of the show as well. So if you ever want to catch that, it's at twitch.tv/TVsTravis.
I'm also going to punt a little bit of what you do. Every year during August, what do you do?
Every year during August, I celebrate the man, the myth, the legend, the national treasure that is Nicolas Cage. All month for August, every episode of Wait You Haven't Seen is a Nicolas Cage movie.
And you call it what?
Cage-a-palooza.
It's Cage-a-palooza, y'all.
We just wrapped up Cage-a-palooza 2024, and it was a ton of fun. So definitely, if you're into Nick Cage, check those episodes out for sure, because we have watched some crazy stuff.
Jiu-Jitsu was funny.
Jiu-Jitsu
That's great.
was...
You made me want to watch that movie after talking about it.
Which is bonkers.
Right.
Absolutely bonkers. So yeah, that happens every single August. But I do the show all year round. I also do a show called Those Were the Days, which is classic television. And if you like horror movies, you can hear me slag on some really bad horror movies that they make me watch on Gore.
Gore!
So where you at?
What do I have?
Where you at?
Oh, tomorrow, if you have imposter syndrome, so do I. So come see us talk about that in the Crystal Ballroom tomorrow at 8:30. Me and my friend Steven Adams here. We want you to teach yourself to hate yourself better. So check that out over at the Crystal Ballroom, 8:30 tomorrow night.
And speaking of the Crystal Ballroom, 10 o'clock in 30 minutes, Stoner Gump, Crystal Ballroom. We're going to do Finding the Stories, which is my podcast. You can find it at linktree/RGOP42. And we're going to be talking about weed. It's going to be blast. So come see Stoner Gump in the Crystal Ballroom.
We're gardening.
Broccoli.
It's not after 10.
After 10 o'clock,
We're gardening right now, and in 30 minutes, we'll be talking about gardening.
Gardening.
Yeah.
Look, there is not a whole lot I can do to get in trouble now, so I'm good.
And those are the days, by the way, tomorrow at 4 o'clock in Galleria 7. We're going to be doing Retro Rewind Roulette. So come check that out. There will be candy.
Garden gummies? All right, never mind.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You can't really blend in with anything like them, and except you handsome.
Thank you!
That was my favorite line.